As we have been discussing that how the Samvit, the knowledge principle, is common with reference to waking state and also dream state. Whereas when we are talking about deep sleep, as we know that if anybody asks, how was your sleep? So in answer, I did not know anything. But nobody says that I know that I don't know. But everybody says I did not know anything. Here, I would like to play with a little bit carefully. As you know, when we bring any memory, so that means memory is always preceded by an experience. If you observe that any experience, there has to be a memory. Without memory, there cannot be any experience either. But sometimes we look at that when we say, I did not know anything, here what happens? Now the knower is ignorant. So because the knower is ignorant, so there is completely that blankness. That's why there is nothing to refer to the memory. Now if you look at all the things, there is a big difference between perception and memory. This is how we need to look at. Suppose if I look at, this is how the conflict happens in life. Suppose a person is standing, a lady is standing. You say a lady is standing. Now, is it a perception or experience? So when you say a lady is standing, it's a very beautiful point to observe. When you say lady is standing, it is a perception. Whereas you say, my mother is standing. The moment you say, my mother is standing, is it a perception or memory or experience? We assume the moment we say that my mother is standing, we assume it is a perception, but it is not a perception at all. Moment I say my mother is standing, now I am able to recollect my experience that she had nurtured me. She has taken care of me. All these things in a fraction of a second goes, and of course related to experience, memory comes. That's why those memories are dearer to you. Please understand, it's a beautiful point to observe. Or painful to you, where you are involved, the experiencer are involved. If the experiencer is not there in any experience, or I would rather say, if the experiencer is not strong, can you recollect your experience? There are hundreds, thousands of experience you go through every day. But do you recollect everything? Only those experiences are coming to you in the form of memory, where the experiencer is strongly available. So that means in our transaction, always we relate with experiences but not with facts, not with perceptions. Can you see this point? My father, my child, my boss, my this. So all these things are not a fact at all. All these are only my experiences. And of course, what is that experience? Because again, the experience is related to the experiencer. Because the way the experiencer is, accordingly, as you know, experience will happen. Not according to the experience, experiencer becomes. No, not like that. So that means the whole transaction becomes subjective, not objective, because of this concept. Now, if this is the case, then what we need to do here is, now we also cannot really deny that in deep sleep there is no memory. Because if deep sleep there is no memory, then how could I say that I did not know that to anything? That's why there is memory, there is experience. But the problem is the experience is in dormant situation. Can you see this point? So because the experiencer is in dormant situation, dormant condition, that's why I come forward and say that later on, look, I did not know anything. Now, even if the experiencer was in dormant situation, how could it recollect? Or how could it reconnect the thread? That reconnecting thread is called knowing principle, called Samvit here. But interestingly, with reference to waking or dream states, all Vedya means that are to be known, are different. That's why dream tiger, dream jungle, the color, the form, sometimes smell, everything is different, both in dream and also waking. Whereas with reference to deep sleep, there is nothing, everything. The Vedya, that sleep is one that is to be known. There is no difference at all. Now we bring this thread very carefully. When we said earlier that experience means it is memory. Now we change from that memory to that experience presupposes Samvit, the knowing or the knowledge aspect, knowing principle, knowledge principle. So that means because of this knowledge principle, the experience happens. Sometimes I know, sometimes I don't know. Also sometimes I know that I don't know. That's a very big thing. That sort of Samvit is a very elevated Samvit. To say that I know that, as we know, one of the famous sayings of Albert Einstein said what? That I have just picked up a few grains from the ocean, from this beach. Just a few sands, few pebbles. Means there are millions. That person that time at least know that he did not know many things. So with this background, let us read two verses together so that it becomes easier. Sabodho visayad bhinnah न बोधात् स्वप्नबोधवत् एवं स्थानत्रयेऽप्येका संवित् तद्विद्धानान्तरे तद्विद्दिनान्तरे एवं स्थानत्रयेऽप्येका संवित् तद्विद्दिनान्तरे मासाब्दयुगकल्पेषु गतागम्येष्वनेकधा नोदेति नास्तमत्येका संविदेशा स्वयं प्रभा. Beautiful concept comes here. Now says beautifully, sa bodha vishayad bhinna. That means that knowledge is different from its object. Of course, the object is different in different places. Like here he says, gives this example. Here is what is the to be known, the Vidya. It is ignorance in deep sleep. Now how? He says, Swapna bodhavat. Like example is coming short. The knowledge in dream, the dream jungle, all the dream object. So how we are able to see the dream? And of course it is to be known, and all of us we know very well. So here also the ignorance to be known, Vedya. That's why I say that I don't know. So here ignorance becomes Vedya, that object of knowledge. Then what happens? Here says beautifully, Bodhat no eva. So when it says Bodhat no eva, and whatever, you have to see Bodhat no eva, that knowledge what we have get there now is not different from other knowledge. The knowing principle in deep sleep is not different from the knowing principle during waking state and during dream. So the Samvit, the Bodha, both are same. Okay, only difference is that, this is what, the difference is what? Also, if we look at this point, that in waking and dream, the object of known, that Vedya, to be known, are different. There are varieties, things. Whereas with reference to deep sleep, it is not variety, it is only one thing. This is the only difference. And that one thing is called ignorance here. And then finally says, Evam, in this manner, what is to be done? Sthanatrayepi samvit eka. So that means what? If you look at, thus, in the three states of experiences, this is samvit, the knowledge principle, the knowledge is same. That means because of that knowledge, I am able to go to sleep. And because of the knowledge, I am able to get up. Remember this point. Or else every day I get up with formatted memory. The hard disk, every moment you go to sleep and you get up with completely formatted. You understand? Will you like to go to sleep? Try. And nobody will like it. Even though you try to go to sleep in order to forget, there are people try all sort of things. But remember, this knowledge principle is common. And because of the knowledge principle, I am going one step ahead. We are able to go to sleep. And also we are able to get up. Because I am sure if somebody says, look, if you go to sleep, after getting up, you will not able to remember anything. You are a completely not different person. A zero. Will you like to go to sleep? Everybody will go to doctor. Please give me the pill as long as possible. I should be, or else I have to keep writing everything. But the problem is you will keep it writing, but when you get up next day, you cannot read what is being written. Because you are completely fresh. You understand? When you look at your face, oh, is it so? Am I? Look at anybody, oh, what is this? In fact, you cannot recognize the mirror itself. That you say, is it mirror? What does mirror mean? Imagine, what a situation. So here the principle is, because of Samvit, not only that all the experience happens, also because of Samvit only, we are having three fields of experiences and we are happy to go through somehow or other. And that is only one principle which is inherent in every field of experience. Then he brings it, Tadvat. Likewise, Dinantare also. So he extends how the same Samvit principle, the knowledge principle, is common, is one in all the three fields of experiences. So also, we can take, because these three fields of experience concludes one day. So now he extends not only one day, any other day. So that means between one day to next day, there is also a link. That link is called Samvit. Can you see this point? So that means it is being highlighted very carefully that the Samvit is one. Then of course in the next verse, Masab the Yuva Kalpesu. So again it is being extended not only to other days, you can go to months, Masa, and of course of the year, then Yuga, ages, and of course Kalpa. And of course this Yuga Kalpa is a very big confusion, you know that better, so sometimes I don't get into this point. As you know, there is a big calculation which really go other way around. However, generally when you look at that, when we say yoga, generally we say no, stone age, this, that, generally age they brought it this way, stone age, this age, that is. But we have a saying, we have four yogas: Satya, Treta, Dwapara and Kali. So now we happens to be in Kali Yuga. And that too, that Kali Yuga is just Prathama Pada, first portion, okay? Since my childhood, my grandfather's childhood, we have been listening, this is Prathama Pada, okay? Since when they are telling this is first part, we do not know. First quarter, not first part, first quarter of Kali Yuga. So every time Sankalpa comes, you know, Prathama Pade. So that continues. That means why? We have to really understand very carefully. Because if we try to calculate, there are different calculations. As people believe, and Pujya Swamiji was explaining little differently. People think that, you know, this Yuga is a cycle. So it moves like a circle. That means what? Now if we are Kali, after Kali gets over, Satya will come. It doesn't look nice. Because how can from Kali straight out jump to Satya? Will it be possible? Everything is a gradual process. Okay, I understand from Satya to Treta is possible. Treta to Dwapara is possible, or Dwapara to Kali is possible. But how can from Kali Yuga, what they explain as the worst, from worst will be best? Overnight things will not change. But there we bring the pendulum. The Pujya Swamiji brings very nice concept called pendulum. This is exactly the watch was being created those days. Okay, not nowadays, okay? So how this clock moves? So the pendulum, what does the pendulum do? If we observe, so exactly like Satya, let us look at, let us say left side, Satya starts. From Satya, Dwapara, Treta, Kali. Then again it has to bounce back, come back. Then again Kali, it will come. Again from Kali, again it will jump to Dwapara. From Dwapara, Treta. From Treta, again it will go to Satya. This becomes more convenient. However, each one tries to talk differently. Some people talk that 4 yugas put together is called 4.32 million years, human years. Some people give different figures. Let me not get into too much, okay? I myself, I am already confused with reference to this concept, because there is also, everything happens, then there is, 1000 Chaturyuga. Remember, 1000 Chaturyuga. Chaturyuga means Satya, Treta, Treta, Dwapara, Kali, all the 4 put together, into 1000, okay? Means 4.32 million into 1000 happens to be 1 day of Brahman. Imagine, after that Brahmaji will go to sleep. He closes his eyes. So okay, it's a big calculation that there are different people. But what is being highlighted here is, very nicely, that the Samvit, because we are not interested in the figure, but here the point is, the Samvit knowledge principle, as it is one with reference to waking, dream and deep sleep state, and again is extended to other days, extended to months, years, also to the limited or extension of eternity. So that means this knowledge principle is something beautifully we need to look at, is something says that it was Gamya Gamyesu, means it was in the past, also it will be in the future. There is no two things. If there are two things, then it will start limiting each other. Because we have a lot of anavastha dosha, we have technically. So that means there cannot be two Samvit, only one Samvit has to be there. We have discussed in some other place in this regard. Now not only that, he says this Eka Samvit become one. Interestingly, na udeti, na asthameti. This is the beautiful point to observe. So it says na udeti is not born, because whatever is created in time, it will be destroyed in time. That's the first point. Moreover, if it is created in time, it also presupposes that it was not there before. If I say I am born in such and such year, that means previous year I was not here. So not only it was, if you say it is created, that means what? When? Then before, prior to that it was not there. And of course the minimum principle says whatever is created in time, it has to be destroyed in time. That's why it says, no udeti, not born. Okay, there are cases not born, but also astamiti, like ignorance. Ignorance also is not born. It is definitely unborn, but it comes to an end. Darkness is not born, but it comes to an end. The moment you bring the light, the darkness comes to an end. So then you can say, okay, I understand. Maybe you are right, that it is not born, it is not created. Fantastic. Maybe it is like ignorance. Now it can compete with ignorance. No, na asthameti. Also, it does not get destroyed either. So that means when it does not get destroyed either, then what happens? Beautiful point says, Esa, this becomes Svayaprabha. Uses this word called Svayaprabha. Beautiful name. So when it says Svayaprabha, Svayaprabha means self-effulgent. We have discussed this point. Na tatra surya bhati na chandra tarakam nema vidyuto bhanti kuto yamagni tameva bhantam anubhati sarvam. During that time we have discussed in details. Because it has to be self-effulgent. If it shines after someone, if it shines after something, then that thing will start limiting or not. Not only limiting, this also has to be dependent upon. Like because of the sunlight we are able to see something. Now because of the sunlight, please understand, now whatever we see, now that sight is depending upon sunlight or not. And interestingly, that's why we say that sunlight is Svayaprabha also. We have to see this Svayaprabha, that Svayaprabha. Sunlight also Svayaprabha because it is self-effulgent, because the sun itself is light in nature. But interestingly, sun is not Swayam, he only Svayaprabha, self-effulgent, but it does not illumine everything. Because sun is illumined by me. When I close my eyes, there is no sunlight. That also I need to understand this point very carefully. So that's why what I need to do here is, here I have to be very clear and understand this point, that it is not only Svayaprabha, self-effulgent, but also it really gives light to everything and anything. In fact, because of whose presence everything is luminous, including that sun which is called self-effulgent. And that Samvit is me. And in fact, that Samvit, when is me, the Atma, here we'll be talking, not only that Samvit, Yam Atma Parananda. So we'll chant this verse and we'll stop it, okay? Verse number 8. Yam Atma Parananda Parapremaspadam Yatah Manabhuvahi Bhuyasam Iti Prematmaniksyate. So beautifully will be talked in details that this Samvit is called Atma. And not only it is Atma, it is Parananda. It's not ordinary Ananda. The absolute, the limitless happiness. So that means what? Because it is limitless happiness, then what happens? Surely, aham ma abhuvam iti. That means what? Surely, may I never cease to be. That means always I am there. That means what? I exist all the time. Then remember, this is to be real love and this is to be seen. This love has to be seen for one's own self. How and all these things we'll discuss tomorrow. Please close your eyes.